Page 120, Lord, I lift your name on high. 4/4 time, starts out in the key of C major, but it won't stay there. I'll talk about that later. First, I want to talk about the right hand. There's some 16th note rhythms going on, a lot of syncopation, so let's just cover this carefully. The introduction's not bad, it's straightforward. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So you just bring the hand down. It's not real pianistic. The pedal will help connect the notes, but we're starting out in this position, and then the next measure we're in this position. Kind of stuck with it. So again, at the beginning, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, fourth finger, 1 and 2. 1 and 2 on that. And now the verse. Now the fun part, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You can do the 1 and a 2 and a stuff for the 16 notes if you want to. I'm lazy, so I know there's 2 16th notes to an 8th note, so I feel it. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and you kind of feel it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, because the A's tied. If I take out the tie, it's this. 1 and 2 and 3. That's how it is, but the tie, I just hang on to the A. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And that rhythm is all over the place. So it's just, notes might be different, but the rhythm's the same. In fact, on this page, even the notes are the same. It happens twice in the next line and once in the last line. Wonderful. Third line down, second measure, 1 and 2. It's a dotted rhythm. 1 and 2. You get that in a few places too. Now go over to page 121 at the top where the chorus starts. 1 and third finger on the E. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and lift up. And then it smooths out a little bit. The bottom of the page, you got some accidentals, but you can handle those. And at the very end, you see the 2 sharps. Now we're going to go into another key. So at the top of page 122, now we're in the key of D major, 2 sharps. At the top here, they're saying 1, 2. You can, if you want, you can do a 2, 3. But when you get to the D, claps the hand down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And this rhythm is all over the place. It's very repetitious. This piece really repeats itself a lot. For the musical motifs that's used, yeah. Doesn't have a lot of substance as far as the music motifs go, but that's pretty much it. Let's go down to the bottom here on the chorus on page 122. Third finger, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. At the first measure on page 123. Look out. So you here, and then third beat you have a D G. The G is tied, so you're going to play the E while holding down the G. And then you can play the F sharps. So the rhythm in that measure is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and again. And so forth. Go down, second line, second measure. They want the fourth finger on the E's. That That way you're in position. You're staying down there until the last two measures, and then you're coming up here, and there's no real easy way to do this. You have a here and then a C sharp. I do a 2-5. If your hand's big enough, you might do a 1-3, 1-4, 1-5 to connect those. 1 and 2, and then a 1-4, and then a 2-5, 1-3, not 2-5, and then a 1-2. So you're basically staying in this position for the last measure. They got you moving around. I don't care for that, but you experiment and see. Now on the next to the last measure here, if you're going to do that, if you're going to use 5, use second finger on the C sharp. Here and then 1-5 and then 1-4. I still like the 1-3 better, so I can connect the top note. The left hand is supporting. Keep the left hand soft at the beginning on page 120 here, and the rhythm's the rhythm's a problem. Yeah, you may not want to be playing these pieces in this book quite yet. Follow their fingering, it's fine. I don't see any real problems. Let's take a look over on page 121, second line. It'd be the last measure. You're here, and then 3-1 for the G sharp D, and then you can do a 5-3-1 for the next measure if you want, or do a 4-2-1, and then a 5-3-1, and then a 2-1. This business of, like in the third line down, first measure, here to here, using the same fingering each. Sometimes you got to do that, but not always. Sometimes I like to use a combination of 5-3-1 and 4-2-1, kind of between the two. So on this measure, I recommend a 4-2-1 on the first one, and then a 5-3-1. Because I don't have to move from the previous measure. If I take the last measure of the second line there, it's here, then here, then here. See, I don't have to move. I get all that in one hand position. And now I move, and I get the rest of that. And then I got rest to give me a chance to move down. On page 122 for these eighth notes. Nice even eighth notes here. Most people will finger this a 5-3-1. I tend to, when in the second measure, when I know I've got this chord coming, that I finger the first measure 4-2-1, because this way I'm in position for this. So it'd be 4-2-1, 4-2-1. If your hand's big enough. If not, you got to use 5-2-1. Then 5. And this is all legato here on the left hand. Just keep it soft, keep it even, keep it sound always coming. Till you get down to the bottom of the page. And then that's a 5-1 and then a 4-1. And if your hand's big enough, do a 3-2-1 here. And I recommend at the top of page 123, 4, not 5. Now, in that first measure of 123, depends on how big your hands are. I recommend a 4-2-1, and if your hand's big enough, do a 5-2, and then a 4-1, so you can connect them. And then a 3. I know this fingering is a little more advanced maybe than what you're looking for, but I encourage you to try it out, because in time you'll get used to it, and it will help you in more difficult music. It really will, especially if you're going to play Bach or one of the Baroque composers, and this fingering will help a great deal. So again, at the top of page 123, I'm recommending 4-2-1, and either a 5-2 or 5-1 depending on your hand, and then a 4-1 3, 2, 1, then 4, 5, then a 4, 2, 1, and again, same thing. I keep doing this. Cross over, and then go down, and slide off. And then third line down, second measure. 1 and 2. Just lift up and go down. You can. You don't have to. Third line down, second measure. They've got you going from here to here. And that's okay. The pedal, you're using a pedal, you can do that. But you don't have to. I don't like these sudden moves. I think they're rather unpianistic. You have to do it sometimes, but we don't have to do that here. It's here. I just go ahead, second finger's there, I just use it. And the third finger. See, I can cover all this in one position, so why not? 1 and 2. And again, same thing. Then slowly put the hands together, and you go as slow as you have to. Just real slow at the beginning. Here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2. I recommend you just stick with that. Work on that introduction till you got it. When you got it, go on with the verse. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So work on that until you get it. Just stick with that little bit until you've got that worked out between the hands. Then you can go on to the chorus on page 121. At the top, 1. See that rhythm right there? Very slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. See, it's those 3 notes. Ba-da-dum. Right there. There's a lot of syncopation going on. You have to take it very slowly because the hands are different. So this first line here, if we can get this, we got pretty much at least the first couple lines or so. The beginning of that line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and second line there on page 121. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Go up. Then you go down. 1 and 2 and. Calms down a little bit, like it was at the beginning. Got some accidentals. The last measure on page 121, hold that A down, it's a whole note. So, you go over that page very slowly, go back one hand at a time again until you get this rhythm like it's written. Don't say close enough. Get it exactly the way it's written at first. Then on page 122, now it's going to help a little bit I think because now we got eighth notes in the left hand and that kind of keeps everything steady. You can see how the right hand rhythm lines up with the left hand eighth notes. So it's here. Just slowly. Rhythm goes for the rest of the page till you get down to the bottom on the chorus, and then we're down here. I'm going to start with the bottom line there on page 12. Let's go to the last measure of the third line here. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. One and 2. Make sure you lift up on the half note there when you play the B. And 2. Same thing. Then the last line, very carefully, the last two measures. Here it's. Throughout all of this, you gotta, and all this going on, and it's really kind of, it's hard anyway, but like at the top of page 122 when you have eighth notes, when you're so busy like that, you'll tend to play them louder. It's just natural. You'll come out and all we'll hear is the left hand. So make an effort. Once you get a handle on the rhythm and the notes, get that left hand soft. We want to hear the right hand. Keep that left hand down. Bring out the melody. Dynamic wise, I leave the dynamics up to you because you learn the piece and then play the dynamics as you feel it. Just know that it's the melody we want to hear, and that's where the words are. Now, except for the introduction or maybe a bridge part in the middle somewhere, I'll come back to that. Play everything soft. So this introduction, you can go ahead and bring out this top note because it's. Keep the left hand soft. Now, only bring out the notes with words. It's like second line, last measure. The first half note has a word. The second doesn't. Play it soft. To hear the melody. Now you get down to the bottom of our third line on page 121. Let's bring this out. Then these two quarter notes softly. And now we're like we were at the introduction, so you could bring out the top note or the right hand a little bit here. Not as loud as the melody, but you can bring it out. It's like, okay, it's sort of like melody except play it softly, which means keep everything else very soft. On page 122 and 123, it's the same thing. If you have words, go with it, you bring it out. If not, you keep it soft. It's like at the bottom of page 122, the last line, you're here, you have words at first. Now here, that's soft and that's soft. Those two chords, and then you go. last two measures on page 123, you have that swell, you get louder and then softer. Start soft. Here to here. So you look in the middle of the swell to see where you're headed. And that note, the first beat on the last measure, that D is where we want to go. So everything here is where we want. Now don't get loud. Just, you have to start soft, build up a little bit, and then come down, like that. Now, we're going to smooth this out, so we're going to use pedal to help us out here. But with all this 16th note stuff going on here, we got to be careful because we don't want to smear it. Now, sometimes 16th notes go by so quick that you can smear them and get away with it because it's gone before you realize it. Sometimes you can't. We just have to test it out and see. At the beginning, now I'm using overlap pedal, and for the most part I'm going to pedal every couple of beats, but I'll adjust that. So here, I'll push the notes and then the pedal. Then change it, change it, change it, change it. Here I lift up on beat 3 and I leave it up. And on the second line there, you can go ahead and pedal the first if you want, or don't pedal the first beat. Then change it there. Lift up before we go on so it's a little silence. And I don't pedal this at all. You have to experiment as the sound you want. You could go ahead and legato pedal every 2 beats. Pretty much every 2 beats throughout if you want. I don't care for the smeariness, so I don't pedal unless I have to. And on that second line, on the last 2 measures, I don't have to pedal until the last measure on when I have 2 G's in the left hand. I pedal to connect those, and that's it. And the only reason I'm pedaling is to connect those G's. I don't want any silence there. So it's like the second line there. On the second measure where the verse starts, it's here, no pedal. Then I'll lift up again. And here I pedal to connect the G's in the right hand. Chorus, again, you can every 2 beats if you want. I'm going to pedal when I have to, and that's usually when I have repeated notes I need to connect, or when I have awkward movements in a hand that I need to connect and I can't do it with the fingers. And I don't pedal I want a little silence there. It makes them stand out better. Again, to start with the first line there on 121, it's here. At the third line down, second measure, we want a little silence before the quarter notes. Lift up with the hands. And then here you can pedal every 2 beats again. It's up to you. you. You have to experiment with the sound you want, and you'll pedal accordingly. That's, again, why we learn these pieces without pedal first, so you can actually hear them, so you can hear the effect the pedal has on what you're doing. On page 122, it'd be the same kind of thing. I can pedal it every couple of beats or so, except the second measure, you can hold it down for the whole measure. Or I can just pedal it when I need to. So if I pedal every couple of beats, I get this. If that sounds okay to you, go with it. But otherwise, we want to take out the blurriness. So I'm going to pedal it when it gets blurry at the beginning. See, I'm not pedaling the 16th notes. Second line, first measure, I'm not pedaling until I play the A. I don't want both of these together. And if I can get the pedal down with the 16th note right with it, not after, with it, then I can connect the A's too. Otherwise, I have to, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with it. That's okay. Bottom first measure, pedal both of those last beats, the chords, and then now the chorus at the bottom. I'm pedaling, change it, don't pedal the last beat. There's kind of three situations that I'm pedaling it here, and that's more advanced pedaling. If you don't want to do this, you just pedal it every 2 beats, don't worry about it. But one is I want to enhance the overtone sound just a little bit. So I'll pedal it occasionally to give me the overtones. It changes, the pedal changes the sound. That's sort of what we're after sometimes. Or I'm going to pedal it to connect notes that I can't with the hands, and I want them legato, so I use the pedal to help me connect them. Like in chords in the first measure there on 123, these chords in the left hand, I can't connect the top note, so I use the pedal there to help me that. And I just lift it up there. Or I want to connect repeated notes that are not 16th notes in this case, and that would be like on the second measure there with the F sharps. I want to connect all those, so I put the pedal down and then lift it up on the next one. That's the third way. So like in the beginning there at page 123, first measure, I'll pedal the first couple of beats for the overtones. Lift up, and then let's change it there, and then lift up. For the repeated notes, that's so hopefully you can sort of understand why I'm pedaling where I'm pedaling, so you can apply it to other things. Now if you skip all that and say, well, just tell me when to pedal, then the answer is, starting with the top of page 123, pedal the first 2 beats, change it here, and then lift up after the 4th beat here, and leave it up, pedal it here, lift it up, down, up, change it, and now up, down. So it's like down for 2 beats, then change it, and then up for a beat, and then down for 2 beats. Then the second measure of the first line, it's just down for 2 beats, and that's it. Don't pedal the last 2 beats. Now on the second line, second measure, you gotta come from here to here. I need the pedal to help me out there, so I may have to pedal that. I'm only pedaling the third beat there. I mean, I'm pedaling the first two beats and I'm changing it on the third beat, but I'm not pedaling the last beat. So it's here. Don't pedal this part. And then you can pedal the second beat, third line down, last measure. Don't pedal the first beat. Pedal the second, then lift it up. Don't pedal the rest of it. Then at the last line, go ahead and pedal it with each beat here. Here, you can pedal the first two beats because the right hand didn't do anything. Change it, and then here, leave it down for the whole measure. Go ahead and smear all that together. That's okay. It's a little tricky. I'm making the pedaling rather complicated because I don't know really how much you're getting into this. Again, you can just pedal every two beats throughout and don't worry about it too much. If you want to try and experiment with the pedal and the sound, use it when you have to connect notes or for overtones or something, but otherwise leave it out. I'd like to do a play with me here slowly. I'm not doing any dynamics of anything. I'll try and pedal it as I think it might be pedaled. I'm going to do pages 120, 121, then I'll stop, turn the page, I'll count in again, and then I'll finish it up. So if you would like, play along with me, maybe just one hand at a time if you need to get the rhythm, but it's up to you. I'll give it 4 counts. 1, 2, ready and go, and 1 and 2 and 2 and 3, 2, and 1 and 2 Stop and turn the page. 1 and 2 and ready and go, and